Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm out here on the sword grounds with my son, and before we go ahead and set our lines, we wanted to take the time and show you how to effectively deploy the jug rod. You know, when we first started sword fishing, we researched, there's not a lot of videos that show you this either in detail, and if done incorrectly, you will have a nightmare of a day. It could be extremely intimidating. You're going to get your jug rod and your tip rod tangled. And when you're talking about having 3,000 feet of line out on each rod and those tangled underneath the boat way down there, when you tangle braid like that and you've got that crow's nest coming up of both rods, the only way to fix it, unfortunately, cut both lines and start over, right? So today we're going to take that fear out of that you might have of fishing both lines. We're going to show you step by step what you need to do to deploy the jug rod and fish it effectively so that it does not tangle with your tip rod. Now, the very first thing that you have to do is you've got to set your tip rod, let it get down to the bottom, hit the bottom, bring it up 100 feet. Your driver is stemming the current. You've got your line up and down. You're not doing a bunch of circles with your boat. You are effectively fishing your tip rod. Now, if you're unsure how, or you don't feel comfortable or 100% on setting the tip rod, we've got a video on our Swordfish 101 series on how to deploy your tip rod, and we'll drop the thumbnail right here so you can see what that thumbnail looks like, and then we'll attach the playlist for our Swordfish 101 series at the end of this video. So if you're not sure how to deploy your tip rod, go ahead and watch that video first and then come back to this video. Now, there's a lot of different ways and some that are a lot more advanced that we're going to show you today of how to deploy your jug rod. But what we're going to show you is the easiest for beginners, the way to deploy your jug rod. We do it on charters, we do it with guests. Anybody can do this. After you watch this video, anybody will be able to deploy the jug rod for you. This is for beginners 101. So let's get to the stern of the boat and we'll show you how to deploy the jug rod. Now guys, if you notice when we're looking at what my son is doing here, we've got the lead in the rod holder already. We've got the jug, he's got the jug ready to go right next to it. You don't want to be running around the boat and trying to grab something. We would like to keep everything organized. We urge you to do the same thing. Number one, for safety reasons, you don't want to get anybody hurt on the boat when you're 30 plus miles from land and you're out here. So he's going to go ahead and get started. And the first thing you want to do is go ahead and just drop your bait in the water. Don't fling it out. Just drop it in. You know, we're stemming the current. The current's moving north. It's taking the bait back, and it's going to keep it your leader and your bait going back. Then the next thing you want to do, if you notice, he's pulling the line out. You don't want to pull it out too fast that you just got a huge pile of leader behind the motors, right? He's pulling it out as the current is keeping the line stretched behind the boat, and he's going to continue to do this until he gets to the lead loop. And you know, when you're letting it out, you can look back and you can look behind the boat and see. You want to keep it stretched behind the boat. You don't want to have it just a big pile of leader back there. These leaders are, you know, 150 feet long. You tangle this thing, it's going to be a nightmare. Same as a braid. The easiest thing to do is cut it off, new bimini twist, cat's paw, and start over with another leader. So you want to avoid that. It's a huge waste of time and money. So now he's coming up to the lead loop, and when you clip the lead on, you want to clip the lead, and we talk about this in our other video, but you want to clip it to the Kevlar loop, or our leaders have Kevlar loops. We buy our leaders from Jose at Team Unleashed. We'll drop his information here. They are by far the best leaders on the planet. You hit him up, you order it from him. I mean, they've got Kevlar loops. This is not going to break. And then when you drop the lead into the water, press the black button so they get an idea of how the speed. You see, so we've turned on the button so you could hear the speed that the line is coming out. It's going out very slow. The reason for that is it's going to take a while to get your line to the bottom. No problem. Open it up a little bit more there. You want the line to go slow. If you drop it too fast, what's going to happen is you've got your leader stretched out behind you, and your main line is coming down. And if you drop it too fast, that leader's going to start going up and up until it meets your main line, and it's going to start wrapping around your main line. And then you just spend a good 15-20 minutes to deploy your line. You spend an hour and a half, 45 minutes in the drift fishing, and when you pull it up, your whole line is tangled, right? So be patient, drop it slow, and we've got the chirp on the reel so you can hear the speed that the line is going down, so you get an idea of how slow it's going. We're not going to show you the whole 15 minutes of deploying the line out. We're going to go ahead and let him catch up until we get to the buoy whips, and we'll explain how to go ahead and put the buoy whip on once we get to that spot. All right, guys, so now we've got 1,480 feet of line out, revolutions. The LP measures, on the screen, it's revolutions. When you have a full spool, we've measured it every 1.2 turns on your LP is a foot, so almost 1 rev per foot with a full spool. So we're coming up on our first buoy mark, and we're gonna clip the jug on the first buoy mark here, and then we'll show you my son clipping it onto the buoy. And when you clip the jug onto your buoy mark, right? And the buoy mark is essentially, it's like a piece of leader, right? And you've got your Dacron loops on the end, and you put them on just like you would a wind on. But when you clip your lead, you want your lead to be clipped to the loop, the wax loop, or in our case, we use, we have Kevlar loops. You want it to be clipped to that because those will eventually fail. And if it does, you want your lead to just fall off to the bottom of the ocean and not break, and you're fighting a fish and your lead slides all the way down, and it'll get all the way down to the hook and could get that hook to come out of the fish, right? So you always want to put it on the loop, the lead. If the loop breaks, your lead's going to fall to the floor. Now, when you clip the jug onto your line, you want to clip it. There's your buoy mark. Go ahead and stop it there so we could show them there. You want to clip it to the actual main line and not on the actual loop. Reason for that: if that loop were to break, your buoy is going to start floating away. And if you clip it to your main line, it will start going down your line, but it's going to stay attached to your line. Now, if the buoy starts floating away and you think, hold on, buddy, let me talk about this first. If your buoy starts floating away, it's going to take you a good 30-40 minutes to pick up your line and start chasing the buoy. On a flat, calm day like today, you'll easily be able to spot your jug. But if you got a little bit of waves, you're not going to be able to find it. We lost one, and now we carry, if you watch our other video, we'll show the thumbnail here. If you're unsure what gear to take on the boat, we got a video. We walk through everything that we carry on the boat and the reason why. But we carry 2 jugs all the time. We lose one again, we've got to back up. But always clip it to your main line and not on the loop, the jug. So go ahead, buddy, show him there in the video. He's gonna go ahead and clip it on. And then when you clip it on and you start letting the jug go away from the boat, you want to let it go out very slowly. When you're deploying your line is going straight back, okay? As you start deploying that buoy and you start getting pressure on your line, and you eventually lock it, your line is going to get tension and it's going to start turning around underneath the water, and that line that you have will eventually turn and start coming underneath and behind the boat, okay? Now, when you're deploying and you're letting this out, okay, we like to let our jug go 300-400 feet from the boat. Okay, so when you clip the jug on, you can look at your counter, you can see the number that it's on, and we add 400 more feet to that. The reason why is, and we'll show you this diagram, we'll pop it in here now, of how the lines look under the water. So you're facing south, the current is going north, okay? You're stemming the current to slow down your drift speed, and your tip rod, which looks like it's going straight down next to the boat. Thank you for turning that off. Your tip rod, the line is going down, but underneath the current, your bait is actually way in front of the boat, and your jug rod then comes very close to coming under the boat. So if you do not, very important, if you do not stretch that jug rod out far enough from the boat, that line could hook your other line way down at the bottom, okay? In 14, 15, 1600 feet down, that will tangle around each other, okay? Had a buddy of mine, went sword fishing, deployed the jug rod. They did 4 drifts that day. First 3 drifts, the jug rod was tangled with the tip rod, you know? And he said, I don't know, why would this happen? I told him because it wasn't far enough, and under the water, that line comes under and eventually gets caught up on your tip rod. I asked him, how did the 4th drift go? He said, you did 4 drifts. He said, the 4th one, we only fished the tip rod. So get the line far away from the boat to prevent that line from coming and getting your tip rod. So now my son's got it deployed, and we will go ahead and show you what that looks like, and you get an idea of how it's fishing behind the boat. All right, guys, so I wanted to show the diagram one more time of what the lines look like under the boat, so you have a really good visualization of how the lines look based on how you're moving with the current. We want to thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future content. And I hope that you catch your 500-pound swordfish on the jug rod.